Let's talk about Betsy DeVos. DeVos, I don't know how she pronounces her name. So Betsy DeVos, who's a billionaire. She is Trump's pick for Secretary of Education. Her confirmation hearings, they either begin, I think they begin tomorrow. But she's going to be in the middle of these confirmation hearings soon. She was she was over education at the Christian school in Michigan. Her mother was a public school teacher. Her husband is the heir to an Amway fortune, which is probably the reason she's a billionaire. Her core issue is school choice, and that's a really nice way of saying taking public funds to give to private companies to undermine public education. At least that's my take on it. But she has no public school experience. She does have private school experience. She's going after deregulation of charter schools. She is the perfect person in line to, if you want to forward charter schools at the expense of public schools, she is the perfect person to do it. And it looks as though she is just a continuation in Donald Trump's effort, his unashamed effort at gutting as many public institutions as he possibly can while he's president of the United States. So anyway, her key issues are school choice. She heads up the pro-charter and pro-school voucher nonprofit American Federation for Children. Trump has proposed creating a $20 billion federal voucher program for families to use to send their kids to school, to the school of their choice. She has poured, her family at least has poured $1.45 million into an effort to prevent Michigan from adding oversight to charter schools. So not only do they want to take the funding from public schools, put it over to charter schools, she wants to deregulate charter schools and to remove oversight of charter schools. So in addition to that, she's funded a group that pushes conversion therapy for LGBTQ individuals. She stated today that though that she doesn't believe in it. It's a little problematic still that you funded and supported groups that push this very dangerous and extremely harmful ideology. Randy Whitengarden, who's the head of one of the nation's largest teachers unions, said that DeVos is the, quote, most ideological anti-public education nominee since the start of the Department of Education. It seems hyperbolic, but if you look at all of the nominees, if you look at all of the secretaries of education, that's a pretty accurate statement. Bernie Sanders had to say about it, do you think if you were not a multi-billionaire, if your family had not made hundreds of millions of dollars of contributions to the Republican Party, that you would be sitting here? Bernie Sanders had no chill with that at all whatsoever. If I get my claps to play. So the Democrats plan on grilling, according to CNN, they plan on, quote, grilling DeVos on college affordability, transgender issues in schools, and for-profit colleges. I'm just curious which Democrats are going to do the grilling, because most assuredly it won't come from Cory Booker, who is the leading Democrat on voucher programs and charter schools. That's his thing. That's what he believes in, and we can guarantee that we will not see anything remotely close to what he did with Sessions. And of course, they're two different people, and there's two different issues, right? But you can see that Cory Booker is definitely willing to stand up and call someone a racist, but he's not going to stand up and say your policies are detrimental to public schools, which many African Americans depend on. He's not going to say that. So this will be interesting. It'll be even more interesting than that is going to be to see how people who have large platforms, large influencers across social media and the political ecosystem, how they are going to defend Cory Booker from his alliances with Betsy DeVos. This is going to be a fascinating intersection for us to experience, because we're going to see the charter school sycophants in the Democratic Party come to the front to support any allegations against Cory Booker and his relationship with DeVos, but they're not going to support Betsy DeVos because she's a Republican, right? She's coming in underneath a Republican president, but she's doing the exact damn thing that Cory Booker wants done. So they won't attack Cory Booker for doing the same exact thing, but somehow they're going to have to find a way to attack Betsy DeVos for doing the same exact thing. And we see, based on their formula, according to CNN, that they're going to grill her on college affordability, transgender issues in school, which is a serious issue, and for-profit colleges. Those are good issues. But it does not address the number one issue that she is being recruited for. She can skate by on these issues. She can give some milquetoast statement about college affordability and pacify the people. She could talk about transgender rights, because you just, unless you're just a deep down in your heart a bigot, you can't bring yourself to saying, unless that's her, she's going to skate by on that with some really, bland statement against bigotry. She's going to get past the question of for-profit colleges. But her number one issue is defunding public schools through a voucher program, which takes funds from already critically unstable schools. Like, they're unstable because they're improperly funded. They're underfunded. They're funded based on property taxes. And what do you expect in poor communities that don't have values? Their homes don't have the values of rich communities, so they're already underfunded, and now they want to take the funds from there and give it to private institutions under the guise of school choice. Listen, I get it. I taught at public schools. I taught at charter schools. I get the tension between teachers and the teachers union, and the political establishment. I get that the teachers union normally aligns with the Democratic Party, and this is one of the reasons this has become a baby of the Republican Party, because if they can do this, if they can defund public schools, then they can permanently damage and destroy teachers unions. Of course, they're not going to completely defund it, but they can underfund it such that it closes hundreds of schools. Look at Chicago. Look at New Orleans. There's not one public school in New Orleans. They're all charter schools. So I get the different tensions. I get the argument. I get why we have to do something. But the something that they are proposing, people like DeVos and Cory Booker, what they're proposing is not a solution. It's just a means of privatizing public school with public funds. This is the wet dream of conservatives and neoliberals, to privatize all of the profits and pay for it with public funds, and then socialize all of the losses with bailouts. So we'll see how this goes and how this plays for Betsy DeVos. With these questions, though, I don't see her having any problem making it in. She's going to do just fine, because these aren't serious questions. These are not questions that challenge the core issue for which she cannot give platitudes to skirt around. Right? If you ask her about vouchers, if you ask her about, the charter schools, that is who she is she's going to state vehemently. She's going to state it very unequivocally. She's going to make it known what she believes. So the issue for her is not going to be to get around questions about transgender rights. She can give some platitudes and get past that. The real question that they should ask would be, what is her solution for the problem of public school underfunding based on property taxes without defunding it further through vouchers? That's the question. And if she's the Secretary of Education, she should have an answer to that question. But that would mean we have, well, let's see what Bernie Sanders, maybe Bernie Sanders will bring something to the mix.